Hey everybody, quick question for the group. What's the hardest thing you've ever done? I know people face all different types of challenges, from health concerns, mental health, different crises that come up, emergencies, employment. Um, but putting some of those major things aside, what is the hardest thing that you've ever chosen to participate in or chosen to do? The reason I'm asking this question is because the other day, for one of my classes in law school, we had to give oral argument. It's public speaking. I think we were all nervous, and one of the attorneys who was sitting on the panel of judges for our oral argument was commenting that this might feel like, to some, the hardest thing that they'd ever done. Giving oral argument is certainly difficult. For me, I would say it's not. That was not the hardest thing I've ever done. I've done quite a bit of public speaking in my life. Was a teacher for many years, and public school teacher, school administrator. So I had the chance to stand up in front of people almost all the time. I think one thing that jumps out to me that was pretty challenging that I did when I was much younger. I moved overseas, and without any really formal training, I learned to speak another language. And speaking another language, it is, if you've never done it, if you've never learned a second language, especially as an adult, there's a lot of uncomfortable moments. And it was, my experience was no exception to that. A lot of uncomfortable moments, a lot of times saying the wrong thing at the wrong moment. But that's just part of the learning process. But I don't even think that is really the hardest thing that I've done. Actually, most recently, the hardest thing that I've really done in my life is to look at those things that, at those goals, at those ideas that seem too big, too scary, too out of my comfort zone, and to actually say, you know what? I think I'm going to try. And that feels more challenging than I think anything else I've done. For many years, I just didn't think that I could be an attorney, go to law school, own my own business. And even, whenever these thoughts would come up, I would just quickly, return to my safety zone. Now that I'm pursuing these goals, obviously it's fulfilling. Feels great. But there's an almost daily process that I go through to remind myself that I can do this, right? So I guess what I'm trying to say is, I think we all have some idea, some goal, some kind of big thing that we want to try out in our lives. I hear people talk about these things all the time, especially as a real estate agent. I have the chance to talk to lots of folks about their goals. And there's always a reason not to do it. And sometimes making that decision to do it is super scary. So yeah, that to me was probably the most terrifying thing I've ever done, is to just look at the thing that I've kind of wanted most, the things that I've really felt like if those goals came to fruition, that I would feel like some sense of accomplishment that I hadn't maybe experienced before. But to actually move toward that, that's actually pretty scary. It's a lot easier to kind of settle for something else. Um, Problem with all that, though, is the problem with the settling is that you always wonder what could have been. So, what is the scariest thing that you have done, that you've chosen to do? Please comment.